All right. This is the biggest launch of Bonsai, the biggest update that I've done since I started the very first initial launch of it last. I believe it was last May, maybe even June. My goal was to do a new update every month, and that's what I did up until November. And then it was around that time that I decided to kind of pivot the direction of the software. Instead of being just an LMS and compete on that level, Circle.so came into the picture. And this really changed a lot of things, as you'll see in this quick demo that I'm going to show. So let's just get to it and jump in. What this is now is, I'm thinking of it as Patreon meets Facebook groups. Let me give you a look. Simple membership tiers on the first home page. It can really be configured with unlimited amounts of tiers or products, but this is the simplest version of it. Now, this next feature that I'm working on, I'm calling it groups. And this is basically the demo right here. So let me back up on that for 1 second. Now it's loading a virtual world in the background, so you gotta give that one a second to load. This one has a very fast load speed. I believe it's around 1.4 seconds right now. I can definitely speed that up in the future. Right now we have Stripe integration right here, so you can select different monthly plans. And once you have membership access, you would log in just like that. Then you would go to this groups page is the main functionality. So you think about groups as spaces you can organize by categories or topics. These spaces can be used as virtual classrooms or venues. So right here, this is in the context of, say, the Future Pro group. I see that there's almost like a platform for different subgroups. So you could separate it almost by platform, so people could discuss these platforms individually. You could separate it by topics such as web design, development, VR. You could really separate the groups however you wanted. Once you pull this up, this is like a single page application. It brings up a dashboard. You could basically curate the content, and this is where Circle comes in, because I think Circle can get a little noisy sometimes. And so this would give you ability to kind of curate your own wall from Circle, basically. So you could put a start here content that would link directly to the comments from Circle. I don't have the light dark mode enabled in Circle at the moment. That feature, I've already accomplished it. It's not in this version, but I will show you something cool about this version. I'm really excited about this. So if I pull up my system settings, I can go to general, I can go to light mode, and the website changes to light mode. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Even if you were on auto, it would change from night to day. I prefer to develop in dark mode. So we have this dashboard here, and you can have starting instructions. You can have pinned topics. You can see that here. Yeah, I wanted to show. Right now it looks better in light mode with the Circle integration, but I can I can set it up so it syncs both. You can have different pin topics, courses with different lessons or modules underneath. You can nest these basically infinitely. And then events is something that I'm working on. I'm not sure why the height is messed up in this one, so that's why this one's in beta still. And members will be prioritized after that, but I'd like to have some type of social functionality. So that's it for the dashboard. If we look at the classroom, this is where it gets interesting. So this is a future pro member that I'm working with. His company is Metahood. We'll call him Nico for now. And we're basically tying these together. Now, this is a fork of Mozilla Hubs. So if you don't know what that is, let's jump right in and I'll show you. I'm just gonna watch from lobby. Now we have this room in this virtual environment. You can look around, and by using the keyboard, you can actually walk around as well. Now, if I was fully in this room, I would have an avatar. You can go full VR mode and have motion controllers, pick up markers, interact with people. You can do a lot of things. You can also broadcast out of here. You can bring Zoom meetings where people are meeting in Zoom in a virtual space. And yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things we're working on here. So we're gonna be beta testing this and see if this could kind of work as like a Clubhouse type of functionality where you can actually lock your phone and it works basically just like Clubhouse minus a couple features, but it also has a lot of features that Clubhouse doesn't have, like being able to present decks, keynotes, be able to visually see these people. The avatars are a little rudimentary right now, but we can actually start to design our own. So this is a bottomless pit. This is awesome. This is one of the big parts of the update. I'm really excited to start testing this out. Cool thing is you can open it up in its own tab as well, so you don't have to do it within the app. Discussion. Now this is basically the newest topics in this particular circle space, as they would call it. So it's kind of like this is why I would say it's a Facebook groups type of functionality, because it's almost like a forum with comments and likes. You can search, you can add posts, notifications, direct messaging, all built in right here within the group. That's just the Instagram one. One more cool thing is this full screen mode. This is still in beta, but this would give you a little bit more space in certain tabs. But there's still a couple bugs to be worked out with this. So yeah, I'm really trying to focus on what this tool does and doing it well. And this is the focus of it right now. So hopefully if you've seen this and you like it, you can try it out. And I still have a little bit of work to do. This is kind of a soft launch on version 7, so I'm going to be rolling out patches as we go by the day, basically. Oh, I almost forgot. One last thing. If you haven't seen this, if you know Circle, you've probably seen this, but if you haven't, it's pretty cool. You can literally embed Circle on top of the website with one-click access. So if I was maybe digging through some different content in here or in a discussion, I wasn't finding what I was looking for, and I wanted a different way to view it, I can just come right in here and start hacking away. We can have a lot of control over the design as well within this. So right now I think it looks pretty good with the light mode. You need to have the professional plan to have access to the widgets, so you could add your own CSS file if you wanted it to work like Bonsai does, where it uses the operating system default for light or dark mode. Other than that, we now have the docs page, what used to be the home page. So this is where I do all the training. This page is not very light mode friendly at the moment. That's what it looks like in dark. So this is basically just centered around learning how to develop on this. And then we have TV, which I'm going to start organizing all the streams into categories and having a similar type of interface as the groups. So you can look through different categories, find all the different live streams or the more long form blog content that I do. So that's pretty much it for the new update of Bonsai. In other news, WordPress 5.7 launched 2 days ago, and there's a lot of cool updates with it. One thing I liked is lazy loading iframes, and Bonsai has a lot of iframes at the moment. So that's really cool that we can lazy load those. I did some quick speed tests on it. I didn't really see the results directly, so I'll have to look a little closer. Moving towards getting rid of jQuery, that's another really interesting move. One thing I didn't put in my notes actually is I noticed that WordPress is actually officially sponsoring Roots now, which if you know anything about the Roots community, it's always been known as like a anti-WordPress type of thing, and WordPress never really got along with their ideas. So that's really cool development. Last night I was listening to Vitalik Buterin on the Tim Ferriss show. Him and Naval Ravikant were all having a conversation, and they talked about NFTs and all these new hot topics within crypto and blockchain. The really interesting takeaway that I had was this thing called DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And I don't even know what this is. I haven't even read over this Wikipedia yet, but I'm pretty sure that this is how I want to set up Bonsai to be run by the foundation. Would be some type of blockchain ownership within the actual company itself. And yeah, that would be really cool. I don't know how to do that. Probably have to hire a consultant to tell me how that would be done at a high level, or try to book them as a podcast guest. So I should really start working on the podcast and getting that going. I think that's the way to go about it. In other news, I came across this today on Reddit, Sage Directives, documentation. I'm still not exactly sure what it is yet, but it looks really cool. So I can include it in Bonsai with the composer as a composer package. Then it looks like I have to yarn install it, build, dev. The one thing I'm unsure of is where it actually installs it at, so I'll have to find that. But once I do, this looks really cool. So this is using Blade to basically shorten a bunch of like much longer type of functions that you'd be writing out, such as like loops and posts and queries. I'm not super skilled at like all this PHP stuff, so if I can just skip the PHP stuff and learn it the really short way, I think that would actually be kind of nice. Obviously I'll be missing a lot of the fundamentals, but I'm gonna start trying to mess with this starting like today in Bonsai, see if I can get this installed, because I have some upcoming projects I think it's going to be really useful for. Not only do they have this WordPress section, but you have ACF, so you have basically little short blade snippets for ACF fields. Then we have these helpers, which I'm not exactly sure what these are for, but yeah, this looks awesome. I think I'm gonna fall in love with it once I start playing around with it. Let's see. I think that covers it, this update. So I'm just gonna be doing some small little tweaks. I actually did record a video last night when I was not streaming. This was when I was figuring out how to do the toggle for the light dark mode, and basically it's a media query in CSS called prefers color scheme. It's like a level 5 media query. You can set it to light or dark. It will refer to your operating system settings, and then I thought this was pretty clever. The way that I actually integrated it was not in the CSS partial itself, like doing the styling, but just in the main file where I was including the partials. Because if you've been following along, you know that I had it set up so that I could comment out dark mode and everything would go to light mode. Then I'd comment it back in and it'd go to dark mode. And it's good. It's a good thing I set it up that way, because this made it really easy to implement. I just took these two partials and stuck them inside of a media query, called it dark, and voila. So I might need to do a little bit of tweaking. As you saw, like on the docs page, there was that SVG that looked off. I'll need to make that transparent. But I thought that was pretty crazy. That I thought that was going to take me like a week to figure out like a good way to implement that. That would be like tied to the user in the Bonsai settings. But this just simplifies things so much. So we'll stick with it for now. Anyways, fam, take it easy. I will see you. I don't think I'll do a stream tomorrow or over the weekend, so probably Monday or Tuesday. All right, peace out.